I grew up in church and I was saved as a child, but I didn't have much of a relationship with God. I wouldn't say I was a Jesus follower. In my teens and my 20s, I viewed God as distant and I started to have doubts. And then I started to think God was mad at me and for having those doubts, and it just kind of damaged the relationship. And then I just remember one of my favorite parts of one of Joel's sermons was he said that the opposite of faith is not doubt, it's certainty. And that just felt really freeing to me. It just felt like that God wasn't mad at me, that it was okay to have those questions. And now when I do have doubts or questions come up, I have my small group that I can talk through things with, and it's just made me feel a lot better. The past year, I've pursued God more than I ever have, but I felt like I was still missing the presence of God until recently. I was praying for a few weeks or months that God would reveal himself to me in a big way. And he didn't owe that to me, but he answered me at If Gathering. David Platt was asking people to come up to be prayed over if they didn't know the Lord. And in that moment, Megan said she felt the Holy Spirit prompting her to pray for someone in the room. And of course, I was too scared to speak up. But thankfully, I had friends there that were nudging me a little bit. And I just knew that I hadn't had that deep personal relationship with the Lord. And before I knew it, all the women in the room had their hands on me and they were praying for me. And just in that moment, I felt like God had seen me for the first time. As a kid, I was too afraid to get up in front of our big church to be baptized. And then as I got older, I started to question things and question my salvation, and I just felt like I wasn't good enough to get baptized. And then the older I got, the more embarrassed I was that I hadn't already done it as a kid. And I've just let fear get in the way for a long time. And now I'm just ready to be obedient to what God's asking me to do. Now my view of God has changed. I no longer see him as distant and judgmental. I see him as a father. I see him as he loves me the way that I love my kids. I know how much I love them, and now I think if I love my kids that much, how much more must he love me? After becoming a stay-at-home mom and after the pandemic, I was feeling really isolated, and I just started praying for friends. And I feel like God has moved in a really big way in my life, and my two best friends are at CPC. We have family coming to CPC with us now, and I just feel like he has really surrounded us with a great community and small group, and just really answered my prayer in a big way. And just when he did, he showed me how much he cared for me. I'm getting baptized because I'm letting God be the Lord of my life instead of fear.